Daytona Beach is home to beautiful beaches and, of course, the world center of racing. The virtual high banks of the Daytona International Speedway sets the stage for yet another season opener, and it is the Speed Racing Network HairClub Truck Series. With our 7th season of racing, new names, new teams, new trucks, new liveries, and we get to see them all put on display tonight. I am Emerson Arden with Jonathan Byer alongside in the virtual booth this evening, and we're excited to be bringing you live coverage from virtual Daytona Beach, Florida. And it was just 91 days ago where we had bid farewell with the finale in the Music City that saw Ben Morrow rise to the occasion and claim the championship then. We reunite tonight to do it all over again, this time over the course of 24 formidable races, and in 217 days' time, we will crown another champion here in Speed Racing Network. But back to tonight, Jonathan, welcome to Daytona. We had, of course, two fantastic duels last week to set the starting lineup for tonight's race. And tonight, of course, a big 70-lapper, full fuel load, so it should be a lot of racing fun. Only one stop on the docket tonight. But yeah, how are we feeling?
There's so much prep work that goes in behind the scenes from a leadership and admin standpoint to make this thing happen. As you know, there's a lot of moving parts that goes into it. We got to get the right people in place. We got to set up all the sessions. We got to come up with the schedule. We got to do all the sponsorship agreements. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So it's always a satisfying feeling to finally get there and get the season underway. And I think we have a fantastic season on tap this year. I'm really excited about the schedule we have. I'm excited about the drivers we have. We have a full field tonight. I think there was only one open spot in the grid, and that's just because we have one full-time driver that couldn't make the first week. So that's a really good sight to see as well. But I'm looking forward to a year long of really good racing action.
Absolutely, and we are ever so close to getting it done tonight. The gridding has commenced here at Daytona. Jonathan, we waited all summer long. It's time to go through our starting lineup for tonight's HairClub Truck Series season opener. And of course, we have Wally Babb and Jeffrey Radke, our two dual winners, on the front row. Row 2 will be Jeffrey Vickery and Sean Corcoran. Finding row 3, we'll find James Shainwolf and Ben Park. 7th and 8th, Justin Smith and Connor Cunningham, with Evan Carlbon and Corey Stahl rounding out the top 10.
Spencer Brown rolls off 11th, Jason Kratke in position number 12. Matthew Greathouse in 13th, Andrew Harris 14th, Drake Carty in 15th, Joe Ruggles Jr. in 16th, Sean Merriman in 17th, Kyle Johnson 18th. And we missed a row there, but I think Scott Kalal, and there's one other there. Jason Green, they rounds up the top 20.
Shane Ledoux will start 21st there, middle of the pack. Lane Doyle 22nd. Row 12 will find Zachary Tallman and Michael Sidor. 25th will be Sean Long, and 26th Chris Luttrell. 27th Daniel Park. 28th Kyle Spees. And row 15 will find Austin DeLong and Dylan Godinez.
Rounding out the rest of the field, Robert Vick in 31st, David Flanagan 32nd, Trevor Arswat. I don't know, Emerson, that's a tough one. 33rd, Zachary Hines at 34th, Joshua Siegfried 35th, and Mark Person, our last minute addition, is 33rd.
And there we are, Jonathan. 36 trucks ready to roll here at the high banks of Daytona. And this is going to be a good time tonight. Everyone already working their way onto the banking here, trying to get queued up behind the iRacing.com safety vehicle. And of course, the Daytona International Speedway, it needs no introduction. It is known as the world center of racing. 31 mammoth degree banking in the turns, 18 treacherous degrees in the tri-oval, 3,800 foot front straightaway, and a 3,000 foot super stretch on the back. That comprises the 2.5 mile tri-oval that is about to be lit up with 36 HairClub Truck Series vehicles this evening for 70 times round here at Daytona. Jonathan, any final thoughts before we get going tonight?
Well, I just want to give a shout out to HairClub for joining us for a season title sponsor this year. They've done a lot with racing, most recently sponsoring Frankie Muniz and a lot of his efforts both in the ARCA series and some select truck starts. So we'd like to thank them, combining their racing family with ours, and we're looking forward to hosting them all season.
Well, here we go. For the first time in Season 7, the iRacing.com safety vehicle will make that hard left-hand turn into the safety of pit lane. The field is in the hands of Wally Babb. Season 7 commences from Daytona. Double wide as they come across the stripe. It is our two dual winners still leading the front two rows here at Daytona. Sean Corcoran trying to give a shove to Jeffrey Radke and Jeffrey Vickery staying behind the 99 and Wally Babb down the inside.
I'm curious to see exactly how this race plays out tonight, because if anybody watched last week's duels, we had one that was fairly calm and only had one real big incident in it, and the other one was kind of a cluster. So it's going to be interesting to see which route these gentlemen go here tonight. Obviously, 70 laps is quite a long time for a super speedway race, so there's plenty of time for mistakes, but I would like to think a lot of these guys are going to ride early, because ultimately the only way to have a chance to win is to actually have a truck there at the end.
Absolutely. You can't win it on lap 1, lap 2, lap 3, but you can sure lose it. And that is a mentality a lot of these drivers will try to abide by tonight. Being with 100% fuel loads, and I believe this is the first time Speed Racing Network has gone to full fuel loads, and if not for quite a while. That's definitely going to affect the strategy a lot. This race probably would have been a 2-stop in previous iterations, but it's only a 1-stop tonight, as these drivers will try to lug these things around somewhere in the range of about 35-40 laps for that one fuel tank.
Yeah, exactly. That is a first for SRN. We've never run full fuel loads, at least to my knowledge, and I was there from season 1. And so a little bit different, but that's also why we made race lengths this year just a little bit longer than what you were used to seeing in our trucks, to kind of balance that out, to not make it to where every race was a one-stop event, because you want a little bit of strategy to be in there. So I think having the super speedway race being one-stop, though, that works a little bit differently, because you're going to have cautions here and there. I'd love to see a green flag pit stop on a super speedway. That's always a good thing to have, but I think it's going to be ultimately how those guys choose when they want to come down, because track position is also very important. Even though in a super speedway you can go from 20th to first fairly quickly, at the end of the race when everybody's pushing that hard, it's not as easy to get through there. So, you kind of want to cycle out somewhere near the front even before you get to that point.
A little bit of a stalemate up here out in front of the field. Jeffrey Radke, big run down the back straightaway, still to no avail. It's Wally Babb leading them all at the start-finish line. Sean Corcoran giving a great push, but just can't get it done. He now does have the 17 of Ben Park trying to also give that little boost along. You see on the inside, Shane Wolf is just not as connected down on the inside than those top 4 are on the outside. And so it will be a battle of the numbers, if you will, here. Now that inside really roaring to life now is Shane Wolf, and also looks like that is the 6 of Justin Smith trying to get things moving there on the inside.
I don't think it's any surprise that we see some threat-level midnight trucks up front. They've had a really good past couple seasons here at Speed Racing Network, and with Radke and Babb right there, those are two guys that have won quite a few races in the past 2 seasons. So I know it's a super speedway and it's kind of anybody's game, but ultimately the guys that know where to put their trucks in the best shape usually find their way to the front anyway, right? So the dual winners and back up front here once again. What's nice is you see everybody kind of 2 by 2, but everybody's staying in this big pack. I feel like in a lot of former super speedway races here on Speed Racing Network, you used to see more drivers kind of fall off that back part and ride in a single file line in the very, very back, but we're not really seeing that here today.
You're right, Jonathan. Double wide all the way down, but not really anyone leaning on one another yet. The aggression just isn't there, but everyone is still comfortable to run at least alongside one other truck. You know, it's when people start putting their noses in there, making it 2 or 3, maybe even 4 wide, that these drivers maybe start to get a little more antsy and will either want to really move forward or really want to get out of it, and that's where the conflict of interest can meet car contact or truck contact in this case, and you know, that could be the end of a night for very many drivers.
Yeah, here at Speed Racing Network, no fast repairs, right? So
right.
You kind of want to protect your truck when you can. One thing Jim Walton, who's our new series director here for the Truck Series this season, told me before the race, there are 2 big things you have to worry about at this track. One's the apron. Right where that yellow line is, it's easy just to seep a little bit too low and clip that apron, and it can shoot your truck up the track or even make it loose later in the run. That can cause some incidents. And then also net code, which I think we're going to have an example of that later, unfortunately, just the way it naturally works. But the tri-oval here, the front stretch at Daytona, is notorious for just a little bit of net code issues, so we'll have to keep an eye on that as well.
We ride on board here with the 78 of Evan Carlbon. He's in the 9th position here. He's about that 5th truck down on the inside lane. This driver was one to watch for in the duels. Very aggressive, but meticulous in his racecraft when it came to this plate racing. I know he comes from a long line of super speedway racing here on the sim. And so Evan Carlbon here, already kind of putting that to the test here, kind of riding in line as you see right now, but putting the pressure on Justin Smith and almost going there in the middle 3 wide, but Justin Smith having a hard time holding on to that 6 machine right in front.
Good job by Evan realizing, hey, the 6 is a little out of shape and kind of rolling out of the throttle and giving him some space to correct that. That's ultimately what gates a lot of big incidents here at these super speedways. And I think for a large part, for the first 50 laps at least, that's what you're going to see. Nobody really wants to get their stuff tore up, especially if you have teammates back there somewhere. You don't want to create carnage that they have to drive through, so you're going to roll out of the gas a little bit right there, and that's what the 78 did. So hopefully we see a lot of that until the end of the race, but at the end of the race, everybody's just going to start pushing, and it doesn't matter what's in front of you. You're kind of just going to get drove right through it, but that's what makes this kind of racing so exciting. And you know, the way the schedule just worked out this year, we're going to have 2 of these super speedway races pretty early in the season, so we'll get to see more of it here in just a few weeks at Talladega.
I've made our way back here into the heart of the lead pack for a reason. Trevor Aswinoff and David Flanagan, they are 14th and 16th here, Jonathan. They started at the tail end of the field. Up 19 spots is Trevor, up 16 is David. They have flown forward so early here. Maybe it's some of those guys that are just biding their time and taking it early, but these guys, they want track position and they want it now. They have already made it their way through half the field, over half for Trevor, and just 10 laps.
And we're seeing our first little look at some 3 wide action
here we go.
here as a third line starts, but it doesn't look like they're just getting anywhere at all. Looks like a couple of the former Bird Dog drivers, now Park Brothers Racing team, is trying to make something happen up top there. But it's tough when you don't have a lot of cars in line with you. I think the best way to kind of depict that is what you see in the current form of the next-gen races at super speedways. When you get locked in a 2x2 grid like this, it's just really difficult if you don't have 4 or more cars in a line to even make anything go. So you'll see some guys try to make a line, maybe make something happen, but unless they coordinate that with their team or maybe some more drivers, you know, it's really hard to do. And these drivers can use their whole race chat to talk to everybody on the track, but if you don't want to share your secrets about your moves either. But they all can talk within their teams together during the race privately. And so I know teams are kind of spread out now because of how the duels worked out, but once these teammates kind of find each other, I think you got to look for how they organize and maybe try to push towards the end.
Our first sign of lap traffic here is Zachary Hines in that 57 machine. Did not take the grid, had to start from the pit lane, and so he will fall a lap down very early on here in the event here at Daytona. Zachary Hines, he will have the opportunity to catch onto this lead draft and just stay out of trouble. He will get that lap back by virtue of the beneficiary, otherwise known as the lucky dog, which, you know, on a full course caution here at these ovals, the first person 1 lap down will get their lap back by virtue of just being the beneficiary of the caution. And so Zachary
another
Hines.
thing to keep in mind, Emerson, is this year we got rid of stage breaks.
Yeah.
So the racing purists love us. No more stage racing. We're not even paying out stage points any longer. It's back to what NASCAR used to be. So he's not going to get that stage caution that he would otherwise normally have on lap 15 to 18 on our old way we used to do the rules. So he can't bank on that. He's got to find something else to do. And now you see, I don't know if handling's becoming an issue with some of these trucks, but you're seeing a few kind of get a little loose coming off the corners, a little tight getting into the corners, and it's kind of jumbling these lines up. And then some of the guys in the back just said, I'm going to run the top of the edge. I think it's just probably a little bit more comfortable for him.
Also something to note, right? As Jeffrey Radke got clear of Wally Babb, he dropped down. And so now Babb and Radke, they were once fighting one another. They are now working together, and they are now going against Sean Corcoran and Evan Carlbon on the high side, and Carlbon giving a great shove to Sean Corcoran, entering turn one to no avail there, as Radke and Babb will continue to, fight strong on the inside with the 51 of victory in tow as well. But Evan Carlbon really leaving his mark here at the front of the field already.
Yeah, and this is a time that we have to learn about some of these new drivers, right? I'd say the field is about 50-50. We have a lot of new this season, which is good, but we just gotta learn how to say their name.
Oh, truck's in the wall! Hold on! Kyle Johnson
with a great save.
Wow!
That was almost disastrous, right in the heart of kind of the hornet's nest there, and Kyle Johnson, one heck of a save.
Kyle Johnson and Aswarnoff getting together there in turn 3, and great job from them to hold on to it, and the field for giving them space and letting them catch it. And right now, no one's going to lose any of this lead draft because of it.
Yeah, and that's what I said. Like, everybody knows at this stage, hey, just roll out of it, you're going to be okay. A little bit of damage on the rear end of that 88, but I think it's going to be just fine. I think he's going to be okay. Obviously lost just a couple positions, but at this stage in the race, not a big deal. He's going to go find the Brady Bunch teammates and try to get right back up there. New teams, too, this year, which we'll kind of cover throughout the race. That's always exciting. We are now in the process of trying to figure out who's on which team, which for the first 3 weeks of the season will jumble a little bit because they have 3 weeks to kind of finalize that. So if somebody's a free agent, they can join somebody. So that's another exciting aspect about what we have here at Speed Racing Network. The team racing atmosphere is really unique.
Oh, big push there from Carlbon. Nearly sent the 74 into the 2 leaders on the inside lane. That could have been disastrous as they were going into turn number 1. And right there, the fastest point of the racetrack. But right after all that commotion with Kyle Johnson and Trevor Aswarnoff, the whole field is kind of jumbled back up. And the energy is starting to flow a little bit more into this pack, JB. We're looking 16 laps in, about halfway through the fuel tank, and the momentum is really building all throughout.
Yeah, I'm watching these guys kind of here going 3 wide for a second, then back single. You have David Flanagan there in the 5. He was kind of stuck in the middle right there, way in line. But you do see these trucks, Emerson, and the shots going through the corner do a really good job. They're kind of walking around a little bit. And that's why I think that there is a little bit of handling that has to play here. I know compared to the other tracks we race at, probably the least effect. But, if your truck isn't underneath you the way you'd like it, getting a push can just make that a much better situation. So you're kind of seeing everybody stay just off each other with the exception of the first 2 in line. Naturally, they have to push a little bit more. But we've seen that 74 out of shape quite a few times, and I think that's just a product of that. Just pushing that much harder, and maybe a truck that's not 100% underneath them. And, completing lap 18 right here, we have a few laps on these tires now, and I know the temperature of this session's up a little bit, so it definitely has to be playing.
Oh, Carlbon really getting himself into a predicament there. Has to lift out of it to not send the 74 around. But you're right, JB. On paper, this looks easy, right? Get into a 3,500-pound brick, slam the throttle down, and use the banking to help you turn. right? But it's a little bit more than that. When you have all these trucks around you, it affects the air and the handling of the trucks. As you said, we're 18 laps in. The tire's wearing out. While it doesn't mean the most here, it does mean something. And you can't really lean on your tires the same way you would have been able to 15 laps or so ago. And so all of that, coupled with the fuel cell lightening as we keep running laps here, the rear end of these trucks are starting to get light. The rear tires are starting to get worn out, and there's a lot of people playing with your rear spoiler. It's not that fun.
I like your description of these trucks as bricks, because that's how I feel like they drive. Anyway, they're kind of shaped like it too. They're not the most aerodynamic things out there, but yeah, all that great points. 71's going backwards there on the bottom. Looks like he just maybe got a little loose off the corner and had to lift out the gas, and that's just when you lift off the gas at a place like this, there's just nowhere to go but backwards. I think one thing to keep in mind too is, you know, you said it's more than just mashing the gas, which is true, right? You don't want to run through the person in front of you. Some drivers drag brake to control their advancing speed, and some actually lift off the gas, and sometimes those two don't mix well.
Right.
And that's usually why we see accordion incidents. But what I've seen is everybody's kind of managing their closing speeds really well. Not giving anybody a really huge shot. And the one place you have to worry about that is when you see them stagger a little bit, especially on corner entry. You just don't want to...
Here we go! 74! Oh, Sean Corcoran going around into the heart of the field! And the caution comes out, and this is going to be huge! Many trucks around!
Got some through the grass down here, down low. I think everybody slid through there all right, but probably the worst place to have that happen.
That is, my friends, what we call the big one.
And I actually think that could have been a whole lot worse.
It could have.
Looking through some of these trucks, and yeah, there's a few bumpers that are dinged up a little bit, but I don't see any bumpers sitting in the grass. I don't see anybody missing a front or rear clip. And that's usually a good sign. I don't see anybody smoking either. So hopefully for these guys, just a lot of cosmetic. As I said, we don't have fast repairs. So, you know, if you blow a motor, it's kind of the end of your night with how long our races are. But
oh, look at that. Almost over.
Yeah, that was quite a hit right there, and just a weird angle. And they keep updating these damage models on these trucks, and they tend to stick to the wall sometimes, and it'll actually pull you up. It's like Connor Cunningham took a hard shot to the outside wall on the driver's side. A bunch of guys went down here through the grass and actually jumped on that little access road down there and got a little bit of air time. You'll kind of see the 00 do that right there, but I think he made it out okay. A lot of these guys down here, they're moving so slow at this point that not going to be big damage.
Yeah, Zachary Hines.
Cunningham got quite a bit there. The 17 got quite a bit.
The one lap truck did not make it through that wreck.
Looked like all the Park Brothers racing team was involved in this one, just naturally because where they were sitting.
Take another look at this. This one could be something. We're gonna try to ride on board here with Sean Corcoran, because this this could have been something.
You have the best sight in the world, and then all of a sudden you have the worst sight in the world. Just
like
that. Wow. That's a considerable amount of airtime twice.
And look, you get to see the whole wreck unfold.
But, I mean, looking even back at that, there's not a lot of really hard contact. There was some right there down around the apron in the back with the 17 and the 1 and the 24, but I think everybody else looks to be in okay shape. Yeah, look, most of the field came down pit road right there. I was just looking at our other screen here for some fuel and probably tires. There are quite a few people still sitting in their box, though, getting that damage fixed. This is a really good view at it right here. Kind of reminds me of that Talladega wreck that Tony Stewart had, if you remember.
Yeah.
That race when Matt Kenseth won, where you get turned like that in the corner, and the car, as soon as another car makes contact with the side of the front, it kind of just lifts it up. We've seen that in quite a few Cup races recently as well. It's just that one didn't go quite all the way over, which might have actually saved his night, because usually when a truck goes all the way over really, really hard, there's day-ending damage with that.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of trucks involved, but like you said, no real big hits to really jeopardize anyone's day there. And I think we're gonna be a-okay. We're gonna bring it back here to live action here as everyone's working their way under the caution period here at Daytona.
Yeah, there's just a couple cars that have continued to sit in their pit box. Sean Corcoran, Connor Cunningham, Zachary Hines, Austin DeLong. Everybody else has gotten service and at least left the pit lane and stayed on the lead lap. Looks like Connor, Justin, Chris, and Kyle were all late down pit road there, but made it out on the lead lap. So the only person that's been sitting that'll at least lose a lap because of damage is Austin DeLong in the 22, who has quite a bit of right side damage and may actually have some engine damage that's causing him to stay there and take that. But I also think at this point in the race, if you do have quite a bit of damage, but you could just fix it all and go one down here, I think you still have a chance to get that back. We know that we're not going to have one caution in this race. That's not going to happen. And attrition happens at the end of these quite a few times. And when we look back and 12, 13 races, when we're getting ready to make the cut for the playoffs, every point matters. So if you can sit there and fix that damage and take the hit here and lose a lap or 2 laps, but then late in the race, hey, you can gain 5 or 6 more spots because of another accident, then that ends up paying off at the end of the day. Drivers also get to drop 2 of their lowest weeks as far as points goes before we get to the playoffs. And for me, that was always dropping a super speedway race because I didn't have a lot of luck at these things. But naturally, if you're going to have a bad finish, I saw Connor Cunningham there on the backstretch. I don't know if he caught that. Just scrubbing the wall. I don't know if he's having some trouble steering or what, but that was kind of funny to see there for a second.
Well, hope for his sake that maybe he was just maybe on the phone, not paying attention there as he's getting caught up.
Just bring the right side of that thing back up. You never know.
Yep. But that was interesting. We're going to try it again. We're working lap 23 of 70. The restart coming to lap 24 as the iRacing.com safety vehicle finds its safety down the pit lane. The field in the hands of Evan Carbon. And green flag back in the air. Everyone very feisty and loose off of turn number 4. A little bit of contact there as Drake Carty gets contacted there in the rear end by David Flanagan. Carbon going to block. Carbon sideways. Carbon going around on the inside of the racetrack.
Truck stays on the ground. It's going to be in an area that's not going to cause a caution, I don't believe. Nope. Looks like we're going to stay green. So unfortunate for the 78, but we move on.
And we'll see
that separated the field. I think some people thought there would have been a caution there, which
I would have
completely up to iRacing on our calls there. The one exception you can have local cautions only at road courses. If the track becomes completely blocked, the series director or race control can then at that point institute a caution. But this is going to string everybody out. But I think if everybody single files up out back, they're going to get caught back up. And like I said, I don't think we're done with those yellow flags yet. So as long as those guys back there stay together and we don't lose a bunch of time, they'll be okay. Austin DeLong has dropped from the race as well. Just hearing he had some connection issues that may have been part of why he had such a large amount of damage on that truck. Didn't seem involved in the start of that incident, but maybe something a little bit after that we didn't catch. So Austin DeLong, the 36 driver finishing tonight unfortunately last in tonight's event.
That is unfortunate for Austin there. We'll see if he can, make some of that up over the course of the season. Of course, not what you want to start with down in the hole. But like you said, JB, some drop weeks there should he need to use it. This probably will be one. This is probably the worst you can finish.
Yeah. I think we're going to have pretty full fields like this all season. But, yeah, this will probably be the one. So he can sleep a little easier tonight knowing that. These guys are quickly getting 2x2 again. This lead group, which contains roughly 13 to 14 trucks, if I'm seeing that correctly.
Yeah, I'd say 16.
Yeah, about 16 trucks, and then we got a drop on back from 17th all the way to 28th. That's going to be that second group, and I think they're trying to get organized in single file back there, which can help them catch this group a little faster if they keep running side by side, but this group has to really commit to getting single file if they want to make that happen. You usually see that in NASCAR races where maybe there's a pit cycle happening. Nowadays you see it with the manufacturers, right? Because they all pit together, where all the Chevys get single file, and they can run down whoever's not pitted yet, or even drivers that are running side by side with others. That's what I kind of expect to happen there, but we'll keep an eye on that gap there. Between 16th and 17th to see how that changes. Right now, it's sitting at about 3 seconds.
You're right, and this is really going to depend, right? I think Jeffrey Vickery is going to be a great lead truck. I think that is the perfect truck to have in the lead. It's going to come down to how good of a push, how consistent of a good push can Matthew Greathouse give, and if he needs to jump out for air, is Sean Long right there to keep Greathouse close while he peeks out for air so he doesn't lose any ground. They need to work as a team, the more of a merrier, but definitely the top 3 to 4 trucks are going to be very pivotal in this movement. Luckily, all of these guys have been here in this series before. They should all know each other, and they should all understand 40 laps to go and 2 lap times to go, 42 laps to go this time. Still plenty of time for this to go back to your way.
100%. I can't agree more with that. And David Flanagan now out to the lead. Second place blinking a little bit there. I've seen that. That can cause some issues. We haven't really touched on that, but apart from the netcode, another thing that happens because we're on a sim is if your internet has issues, it'll cause your truck or car to disappear where all the other drivers can't see you. And when the internet catches back up, it'll just reappear, which can create problems because, as you'd imagine, especially at a track like this where they run so tight and close, you want to think you're still pushing the guy, but truck could spawn right back and you guys are basically bumper inside of bumper, and that usually doesn't end too well. So we'll keep an eye on that. I don't think we've had a lot of other blinking issues this race, so we're lucky there, but we'll keep an eye on that, especially somebody that's running so close to the front.
Absolutely, and I touched on this a little bit earlier, JB, but David Flanagan and Trevor Arzmanoff running 1-2 right now. Started at the back of his field, mainly because both of them were late entries into this race. Flanagan commentated the duels with me, and here he is leading this race 1 week later.
We had one truck get really, really sideways. I guess they saved it because there's no caution, but you'll see, there it is right there. Can't tell who that is in that green truck.
Scott Kalal.
Their door was facing the trucks behind them.
Oh my goodness.
They kept it straight, and you see that group back there. They're still not organized enough to even try to catch this front group. And the front group now only consists of, it looks like 9 trucks. So 9 trucks, and then everybody else is going to have to do their best to somewhat organize themselves. And this is a perfect example of where race chat becomes real useful for things other than pitting. To say, hey, let's all get in a line here. Let's work together. Let's try to make some headway on these front runners. And I think because this front group is small enough, if they keep running double lined by like this, and the back group can get organized, I don't think that'll catch anyone.
Yeah, this is going to be quite the large gap here. We're looking at 4.5 seconds, and we're not even organized yet. This is going to be a tall task. Very doable. I've seen it done before. I've seen, upwards of 13 seconds, closed in plate tracks. But You know, this is going to be something here. I don't know. Scott Claw is going to want, or they're going to want Scott Claw to stay as the lead truck because the back end is damaged. Now, the back end doesn't mean all that much when it comes to leading the line, but certainly that could be a factor when it comes to pushing.
100%. Couldn't agree more with that. And we see the 78 who went for that spin earlier. He's now going to go a lap down.
Yeah, you're right, Evan Carlbon. He's going to try to latch on to this group, which they are racing pretty hard. And now as Vickery and Greathouse, they get to the front of this massive second pack. If they can get lined up behind, or not even lined up, but if they can at least get the top 3 or 4 consistent, then this pack can start to move. But the gap is 6 seconds.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for a better 2 to be leading this group for sure. I'd say some of the best in the business when it comes to really any racing, but really this kind of racing. But if they're all disorganized like that, they're just making it that much harder on themselves to come up here. But this front group, they're not really just chilling out either. That back group might like the fact that, hey, we're not up there, this is getting a little hairy, might be out of trouble. But what causes that separation is when somebody like Scott Claw gets sideways. You know, in the back, you know, you're just trying to protect the truck and not get up in the mess, but you're thinking when a door number is facing your windshield that's going to be a caution. But we've seen a couple of good saves already tonight, and just rolling out of the gas a little bit too long and losing that grab of the draft, that's what causes that big gap. Because it was down to about 2.5 seconds, almost 2 seconds before the 23 got sideways again.
Something amiss with the 90 machine of Zachary Tallman. He had some moment where, oh my gosh, and the leaders have crashed up into the outside wall. The leaders have crashed Trevor Aswarnoff hard into the outside wall. The rear end was facing the sky.
That truck found some airtime.
Oh my goodness.
This is the case where the guys in the back group are actually a little bit pleased with the fact they weren't part of this. But we saw this lead group, man, they were getting heavy with it. They were all over the place.
It was only a matter of time.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think so. We'll take a replay, but that 89 truck was up in the air. We saw the all bottom side of that truck for a good second there.
Oh yeah, this is going to be something here. And again, a bunch of new names to the series here, JB. And
pushed by the 59.
Yeah, welcome.
And the 5 just, it's tough when you're getting pushed right there. The truck gets light, and I mean, nothing the 5 did wrong there. You're kind of watching your mirror expecting the push, but you know, if they're not teammates, so he can't tell them hey, you need to back off a little bit, and just unfortunately turns them, and the 89 was just in the worst possible place at that point in time. Corey Stahl looks like he got quite a bit of damage too, because it just all bottled up there on the bottom. 89 was thinking just a little bit again there.
Yeah, absolutely. So that could also been part of it. We'll see here what the rest of these guys ended up feeling in this incident. But you're right, Corey Stahl, one of the title contenders last season, getting caught up in this one here early on here. So obviously we saw the 89 of Aswarnoff go into the outside wall. It was the rest of this. The 33 nearly got airtime as well.
The 5. Great job avoiding the outside wall there. I think that truck's going to be fine. A little bit of rear end damage, but I think he'll be okay. Great job. Oh, my goodness. That was Justin Smith. That maybe took the hard route, but he had all those trucks inside. That might have been the best option for him, but that was almost disastrous.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow. It didn't look quite the same on my screen that it did on the replay there, but that 89 truck was way up in the air almost.
I saw it live too, so I guess we're not getting the same feedback.
Doesn't do it justice, I guess, but that's just a product of super speedway racing. Looks like everybody's back down pit road here, though. I think from here you can make it to the end, so this is a good time to just go ahead and knock out that last bit of service.
Yeah, you're right, JB. Pit stops are in full effect. This will be good enough to make it to the end. Now, if there's overtime, that could be a different story. But down and away, the 14, the 36 of Cal Speeds, excuse me, will win the race off pit road. Shane Wolf, Cardi, Green, Kalaw, and Moore. And Everyone will work their way off the pit lane. There you see on the left-hand side. Top 10 have made their way off the pit lane. So Kyle Spies will be the race leader, and I believe Evan Carlbon is currently slated to get the lap back. So Carlbon should be a-okay here. He'll get that wave around and be right back into this. He won't unfortunately be able to pit this time, but I don't think he's too worried about that. I think he'll catch himself another break.
I think he'll still be able to get quite a ways before he has to pit. And I think we'll still have another caution. So, yeah, he's just going to wave around here. That'll cycle Spies back to the lead, which I feel like we're going to be saying that a lot again this season. Because what I really like that Spies does, it kind of reminds me of teams that JBR used to have in the past where, you know, maybe not out there blazing everybody on raw speed, but just doesn't put themselves in situations to get wrecked or be involved in somebody else's mess, and just slowly, methodically makes it up through the field and is really consistent. So, kind of singing Kyle Spies' praises, but he's won quite a few things here in SRN just from being that kind of driver. And, well, race 1, in the new season, he's already leading.
Absolutely. And we're going to take this moment to shout out some of our partners here at Speed Racing Network and, of course, the series. But first, our broadcast partner here, Premier Racing Setups. Of course, Premier Racing Setups is the longest-running setup shop on iRacing. Established in 2016, and they offer many different options to help take your sim racing career to the highest levels of iRacing. And with 50,000 customers worldwide, they have got the tools you need to compete with the best sim racers iRacing has to offer. Use code SPEEDNETWORK15 to save 15% off of your order. Huge shout out to HairClub, of course, the series namesake. Take control of your hair loss at HairClub. Their total hair solutions can help you regrow or restore your hair. Speak with their hair loss specialist today, and make sure you use code SRN10 for 10% off of your Hair Club order. And of course, Admin Box is built by iRacers for iRacers. The goal is to make race control as easy as possible. Each Admin Box connects via USB and features pre-programmed commands, no keybinds, for race control. Driver function and pit options, LED backlighting make the buttons highly visible in any situation. Use code SRN-BOX, that's BOXX, for 10% off of your Admin Box order.
All right, they're getting double filed up here. Just to update you on some of the other things off the screen that are happening. We still have 35 trucks running in this event. Austin DeLong, we talked about his technical issues earlier and involved in that incident. He's the only one retired from this event. Zachary Hines and Trevor Armsworth are still the 2 lap down trucks. They're currently at the back of the field. They are still out there circling the track, so got whatever damage they could fix, and they're still out there. And then, of course, we just saw the 74, was it?
78.
Or, the 78 take the wave around. He's the last car now on the lead lap.
The iRacing.com safety vehicle finds its safety down in the pit lane. The field in the hands of Kyle Spies. 32 laps to go. Green flag in the air at Daytona. Lots of jostling for position as they come off of turn 4. It is Jason Green to the lead, pushed by Daniel Park.
Park Brothers Racing teammates making their way to the front. I know they work really well together. I've been teammates for a couple seasons now. They're up to the front. They're really the only 2 of that team that survived the chaos that has already happened this evening. And everybody's going to try to find their pushing partner, try to get organized. The double yellow line is out of play. So that's why you see everybody staying up there, especially down the backstretch. Can get pushed down there, but we ask that you just kind of blend back in line as easy as possible. Looks like we're now all getting doubled back up. Another note that just happened off screen, Joshua Siegfried in the 15, some technical issues there caused him to lose connection for a second, has rejoined the race, but it'll be at least one lap down. Also, Kyle Johnson black flagged there on the restart. I believe that would be because he changed lanes before the start-finish line, and that is a drive-through penalty.
That is unfortunate there for the 88 of Kyle Johnson, who he finds himself in a little bit of a bind here. He's got to get down to pit lane, but he's got 2x2 to his inside. So Kyle Johnson, not only is he gonna lose time by pitting, he's got to drop all the way to the back to even get to that point. So unfortunate there for Kyle Johnson on that restart, but rules are rules. And
that's a new one this year. Changing lanes before the start-finish line is a drive-through. Also, when you reach 17 incident points in a race, that is a drive-through as well. Both will be upheld strictly by our series director, Jim Walton, and race control, whoever that might be. Tonight, Jack Johnson is helping that role. So we'd like to thank them both for stepping in this season to help us, because ultimately, without them, there is no race. It has to be run by somebody, and the rules have to be upheld during the event and throughout the season. So I just can't thank them enough for the help they've been so far and their help this season. Now we're good 3 wide here on the second row.
Kyle Spees into the sucker hole. He's got to find his way out soon. He tries to jump up high, trying to force his way up high, but to no avail, and he does. He gets in front of Matthew Greathouse. Kyle Spees, the aggressor, to get to that outside lane. All the while, James Shane Wolf clears to the lead, and Wally Babb, the pole sitter, trying to take it away.
Wally Babb's not done leading some laps at this event. I think what you saw there with Greathouse and Spees, that's just some teammates working together. But a masterclass by Kyle Spees using the side draft to draw that 8 truck backwards towards him. That's ultimately what allowed that hole to open up in front of him. So great job there by Spees just to drive that up there, and then a good working with your teammate to find that hole. But Wally Babb, what a run he had on the top side when that momentum developed, and he clears all the way to the lead. Now he's going to be in control of both lanes. So
Wally Babb to the point. He takes Shane Wolf to second. It's Green, Spees, Daniel Park, Greathouse, Cardi, Smith, Doyle, and Kalava top 10 as they roar off of turn 4. Working lap 42 out of 70. 27 laps to go this time by the stripe. And the field just getting a little tighter, getting a little more antsy. The one big one to start this race, or I guess in the 20s, lap 20, did not deter too many people, and it didn't take out too many people. So still plenty of energy buzzing around the pack, and everyone's fuel tanks have been filled for the most part. Everyone's good on fuel, so a little bit of a
almost had a moment right there, and somebody just got keyed up on racetrack and said they're sorry for that push. I guess it may be a little aggressive push by the 6, I'd imagine, is where that came from. But we move on, we survive. But with 27 to go, when we get down to that 20 to go window, that's I mean, we've seen a lot of aggression already, but that's when it's just all take, no give, and you're gonna see these guys.
Oh, here we go! Contact! Drake Cardi into the heart of the pack! And the caution comes out. Big hits there. The 17 of Ben Park. Ruggles involved.
96.
Spencer Brown.
Great job by the 5 sneaking through there. We might have to take a look at that onboard here in a second. That was impressive if you saw him sneak through there. But Joe Ruggles unfortunately caught up in that. Don't see a lot of damage on that 96. I think he's going to be okay. 59 took a pretty good shot there. The 17 took a really hard shot in the rear.
It's a second one.
12 got a little bit of right rear damage there. I think he'll be all right. But considering where that happened, I'm surprised that wasn't bigger than it was. Probably 4 or 5 trucks there involved.
Yeah, again, another one of those wrecks that, like you said, could have been a lot bigger. And this kind of all started. We kind of saw it forming on the back straightaway, but it really started here out of turn number 4. And then that's what we're going to get with the replay here. You're looking at Cardi and see 89, not the 89 there. Getting into the left rear.
Yeah, that's a tough spot because when you're in the middle, you think you know what lane somebody's. Man, the 5 just.
Whoa.
I don't know how he got through that.
We'll take that replay here.
Out there too on the bottom, but It's tough when you're in the middle if you don't have a real spotter in your ear, because iRacing will only tell you car inside, car outside, or 3 wide. It won't tell you exactly where they're at, because there's a difference between car inside on the yellow line and car outside against the wall, or car outside third lane, right? iRacing spotter does not give you that much detail, so it's hard to figure that out. Oh, that's what got Ruggles around. The 77 got into the back of him. Connor did a good job right there, avoiding that.
Oh, we were on board with Flanagan, but I guess it changed on me last second.
Oh, we got the old Connor Cunningham onboard camera right there. Shout out Connor for rocking the Advantage Marketing and Management sponsors there.
There you go. Here we go. We got Flanagan's queued up here. This is the one JB was talking about. Let's see this.
I think he avoided everything here. Let's take a look.
Wow!
What a piece of driving by Flanagan.
My
that's
goodness.
all you can do other than just stop.
Yeah.
Because you see naturally, when that wreck happens, everything kind of goes to the right.
Yep.
The track. Well, what goes up has to come back down, right? So you have to try to stop, let it clear up, and then try to get through as quick as possible before all that slides back down. So great job by him right there of avoiding that, and that's going to keep him in this race and actually probably give him a shot. We saw him up front earlier, so if he can get a little bit of track position again, I think he's going to be all right. But yeah, you see it right there, truck in the middle. I think he makes a little contact with whoever's on his outside, and it kind of shoots him back left.
Just right into Ben Park's path.
Yeah, Ben Park. That Park brothers had a rough go at it tonight.
Yeah,
he
he
had a
has.
little bit better night sitting in 4th. But that's product of super speedway racing. We had 12. Speaking of Daniel Park, I had to put this out there. We had 12 recruiting races this off season, and he ran almost all of them, and ran really well in I'd say 90% of them. So I just want to give a shout out to Dan Park. He's had a really good go of it recently. Finds himself now in the top 5 of this race with a clean truck, a good looking truck as well. I think he's a guy to look out for at the end of this race. Wally Babb being back up there as well. We all know what he can do on a super speedway, and won a duel earlier. And then Jason Green also, that teammate of Dan Park up there. Teammates up there at the front late in the race is exactly what you want.
Is that 7 of Daniel Park? I'll piggyback off you, man. I've seen Dan Park from when he came on to the sim, and the growth that he has had on the sim, and just even here in SRN. You see him. Let's be real. He came in as a mid pack, maybe even kind of back of the pack driver, but he's grown into this driver who is steadily worked his way up into consistent mid-pack finishes. Last season was consistent top 10s and even a couple podiums. Dan Park continues to kind of grow as a driver, and who knows? As you said, he ran one of the recruitment races. The sky's the limit for the 7.
Yep, and obviously with JBR is no longer an SRN team, but we have sponsors that have remained part of the team. And what's really cool is the Park brothers, when they decided to start their team, asked if they could, be a ground for us to continue having our sponsors be a part of Speed Racing Network and be out there. So a lot of the sponsors you see on the Park brothers racing trucks, former JBR sponsors that are now supporting that team. And so it brings me joy too, just seeing them out there. And then part of that also, I get to work closer to them. I get to know them a little bit better. And that whole team's just stand-up guys, and I wish them a lot of success this season. Now I don't have a dog in the fight anymore, but from what I see from the inside, really good drivers. Also want to give a shout out to our 10th place driver, Mark Person. He decided to run this race about, 30 minutes before the session opened in the 77. Was in the Speed Racing Network general server. Wasn't registered or anything with the series. He signed up. He got here. He's good to go, and he's in the top 10 with 23 laps to go.
He's right in it. All you got to do is be in it, and you might win it. And
that's right.
77. He's kept his nose clean so far today. Still 23 laps to go. A lot of racing left in this one. Looking at just under 60 miles to go. And so as the iRacing.com safety vehicle will find its safety down in the pit lane, the field in the hands of James Shane Wolf. Green flag back in the air. Oh, Daniel Park nearly went for a ride there on the back straightaway. Nearly went off the nose of the 5 truck of David Flanagan. They save it. They keep it going, but that could have been disastrous there. Wally Babb getting pushed by Sean Long.
Everybody's trying to get back together. You see teammates now just finding each other all over the track. You have the 55 and 7. You have the 99, 84 and 3. You got a trio right there. All these guys are starting to find each other. They're dancing partners here for the end of this race.
Yeah, at the end of the day, right? Go for it.
89 truck, sorry, Emerson. The 89 truck has retired from this event as well, and so that's only going to leave us 34 trucks still running. Everybody's on the lead lap except for Siegfried, who had the connection issue. He's still 2 laps down in 34.
Good to see Siegfried back in it. He will have the opportunity here. Is that another penalty for Kyle Johnson?
Another penalty. Just from race control. Penalty for lagging on the restart. Had 3 trucks in front of him. Wasn't pulled up to the field. Not saying that's always an advantage, but you can definitely jump a start in the middle of the pack by doing so. So that's the second drive-through penalty of the night for the 88 truck. And this is also when knowing the rule book, as much as I'd like that people read every word, knowing the rule book really comes in handy because you can avoid just penalties like that. But if it's going to happen, it's good to happen in the first race at a track like this where you can just move on and learn and not make that mistake the rest of the season.
So Shane Wolf jumps up high, and now it's Wally Babb getting the shove to the 14. Daniel Park shoving Jason Green. Flanagan trying to insert himself into the mix as well. And Carty, that is Drake Carty. He was around a few laps ago, but Drake Carty right there, 4th truck on the inside lane. Now he's not really sucking up to that 5 truck, and you see that front end is all sorts of damaged, and that could be playing an effect here on the 59 of Drake Carty. But Carty is up here, and should something fall his way, who knows? But now the outside lane has the number. Shane Wolf getting shoved by Babb, Long, and Jeffrey Radke, and looking to clear down. Maybe no. Shane Wolf trying to play both lines.
Yeah, now it becomes Shane Wolf's job as the leader to kind of manage both lanes. Not easy, let me tell you. I hope he has a real spotter talking to him through this. To give them gaps and what lane has momentum, who's getting the run, who's behind them. If you ever listen into a scanner on a NASCAR race at a super speedway, those spotters are talking all the time. And we have a yellow. Looks like it's in the back.
Oh, Godinez.
Godinez, the 78, looks like he might be involved in this as well. Good thing is we don't see a lot of trucks.
It's way off the racing surface, so it'll be interesting to see how iRacing detected it as a yellow. I guess that's the investigative job for us to do. And looks like we have found it. Here we go. Looking here at Dylan Godinez. Racing, that's the 47. Contacts there, the 47.
I guess the 78 wasn't involved.
It was up the track, yeah.
Was it up the track a little bit? Because I saw him register an incident point there.
See here.
Joe Ruggles is towed to the pit lane, so he was involved in this somehow as well. Heavy damage to the front of the 96 truck. That'll probably end his night, unfortunately.
So Joe Ruggles was involved in this second part of this caution. We'll catch at least a little clip of it here. But Oh, no, he wasn't. Carbon just
90 gets into this. 90 gets into the 78, spins them around. And a couple of the guys that were hanging out back there, unfortunately, get caught up in that.
Quite unfortunate, and something. Not entirely sure what happened with Joe Ruggles. Trying to see.
We'll try to get an update if we can here in a minute. But that will give 1 lap back to Joshua Siegfried. So having a connection issue under green, getting back in, dropping 2 laps, and now is only 1 more caution away from being back on the lead lap. It's not a bad gig. But this is what is always the most interesting about super speedways. If we go through the top 10, okay, Radke's up 1 position from where we started, but the rest of these guys, David Flanagan's up 30 positions. Robert Vick is up 28 positions. Greathouse is up 9. Luttrell is up 21. Speeds is up 22. Doyle's up 15, and Person's up 28 positions from where they started. So it's a common thing you see where you don't really need to start anywhere near the front to make it up there. But vast majority of those guys we haven't seen involved in a single incident all day. That obviously helps their case, but it's also happens every time, Emerson, right? We talked about the 5 truck avoiding that incident and is running, 6th, 7th right after that. That's just how it goes. You're that close to winning the race as you are to getting towed back to the pit.
Oh, Daytona, it's got it all, right? Like you can be so close. Yeah, that's why we love it, right? Anything can, and when you're here, man, anything will happen.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Still have quite a few trucks out on track that look really, really clean, which, at a super speedway, that's not always the case. But we've had a few incidents, but I think for a large part of the race, we've seen really good wreck avoidance by a lot of those guys, or just making really soft contact, which is preferred, right? So we still have a lot of trucks left in this event that still have a chance, which is what you want to see. And there's Siegfried getting one of his laps back right there. So he'll be 1 down. He'll be the only truck 1 lap down, as long as the rest of the guys that are currently on pit road exit before the pace car comes around.
Yeah, and you're right, JB. With 16, and this reset's going to come with 14 laps to go here, we're still going to have 32 trucks on the lead lap, most of which, I dare even say all of which, will be capable to stay in the lead pack. And with 14 laps to go, man, this could be something. Yeah, I am.
Here is Shane Wolf took the outside. So the leader, we don't have a choose cone here at Speed Racing Network, but the leader does get to pick which lane they want to start in. By choosing the outside, James Shane Wolf split up the threat level midnight teammate. So that's something as well to kind of keep an eye on. Because we saw those two, the 99, the 84, and the 3, really, really pushing good earlier, right? They were driving that top line. Well, now he separates the leader of that line away from them. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how they try to cycle that back out and get organized. And then you still have the Park brother teammates there with Jason Green and Dan Park there on the bottom.
This is all intriguing, and someone's name we haven't mentioned almost all day is the 13 of Robert Vick. He's also got the 00 of Chris Luttrell in tow.
Making it happen.
There you go.
Just, Speed Racing Network debut for both those guys. Robert Vick, very, very nice racer. Had a couple conversations with him, and he's excited to be a rookie in this series and be a part of this group. We have a really good group of drivers in this league. That's what makes having this season so exciting and makes us so ready for it. But I'm excited to see him on his SRN debut having a really good run, up 26 positions from where he started. So can't ask for much better than that. And he hopes to see the checkered flag tonight.
That he does, and that most of these drivers wish to do, but the way it's looking, I don't know if they're all going to.
If anybody wants to know, we do get 3 attempts at a green-white checker if we need it. So I hope we don't, but you never know.
Good information to have in the back pocket as the iRacing.com safety vehicle finds its safety down in the pit lane. It's James Shane Wolf from the high side. Green flag in the air. Truck in the grass. Just Jason Cracky, he saves it, but up the gears we go. 14 laps to go.
It looks like a couple of guys in the very back there just getting shuffled out. The damage trucks naturally will just slot themselves to the back. Interesting up front, though. Everybody's trying to get to the bottom, escaping the top lines, and everybody in the middle line decides to go to the top. So we'll see James Shanewolf making some really aggressive lane changes right there.
Shane Wolf jumps in front of Sean Long there. It's Wally Babb pushed by Jason Green by into 55 there on the inside. Flanagan and Park in tow inverse them. That'll be third and fourth trucks on the in line on the inside. Truck around to 6 of Justin Smith up and over.
Smith around. Vic gets a little bit of damage. Oh, he's coming back up the track. Oh, that's not going to be good. I think he would have been all right. But coming back up on the track, that didn't end well. And Justin Smith, man.
Well.
And there's a 13 rolling slow there on the bottom. That might be terminal damage. Robert Vick, who we just sung his praises about after the change here at Daytona. Justin Smith went for one heck of a ride here, though.
Yeah, on the initial live shot, it looked like he went up and over. I don't know if we're going to get that conveyed in the replay. But he does get air, and nearly, and he will. Yep, oh, my goodness.
There he goes. Right on the door.
Oh, not a full 360, but just like Corey Stahl in the duel. Yeah. Nearly.
Andrew Harrison's doing right there.
Yeah.
Look at that. He's
on the brakes.
Stop. I'm going to stop right here.
Oh, did he?
I don't think he got it. Oh, just that's okay.
That's he tried.
We can live with that. That's cosmetic. But what really happened is the 13 went through the infield grass, and the momentum took him back up on the racing surface, and there were still some trucks coming. And I think that's what tore up the rest of these guys. Could have been net code there as well. We'd have to get a closer shot to be sure.
Contacted there
on the pit lane. And right, so you see the 13 come back up, and can't tell who gets in the back of them there. But yeah, that's a tough set of circumstances right there. And that spot of the racetrack is kind of why I think that could play a part, because it does happen quite a bit there. But the 6 was quite a ways off that yellow line, and the 13's not expecting him to be at his door that close right there.
Right, absolutely. It's just part of it. Kind of have to just be aware of where everyone is, but that's hard to do. There's so many people to be aware of. And just like that, 2 trucks can come together. And, I don't even really know if either of them knew each other, how far up or down the track either was.
And that's the difference in having a real spotter and an iRacing spotter, because those are details your real spotter can give you.
Check that out.
What a view. You know what? I think that is better, though, than taking a hard left down the track, because you saw how fast some of those trucks were coming. If Harris would have cranked that thing left, he probably would have gotten hit really, really hard by somebody coming. So I think he's going to be okay. On pit road right now, getting that damage fixed. So I think he'll be able to get it all fixed. Don't see anybody else retiring from that specific incident. I'm going to roll back through here and make sure. Joe Ruggles is now 5 down. He is showing still on the racetrack somewhere. He's still. Nope, he has now retired from the event. So that'll
we're at 32.
Leave us 33 cars in this one. Quite a few of them right now are just getting that damage fixed if they can. But we still have quite a few up front here that are clean enough to make a go at it. A little scuff, a little scratch, that's all right. That's just part of racing. As long as you aren't missing a hood or a front face or something like that, you're probably still have a good shot at this one.
You're right. And you see, almost every truck in frame here doesn't even have damage. And there's plenty of that throughout the field. And this restart coming with 10 to go. 25 miles to settle it. Something tells me the chaos is not done yet.
No, Shane Wolf did the same thing here. He split those threat level Midnight Motorsports
Yeah, he
teammates
did.
into 99 and 84 up. So he knows what he's doing here. He's a smart racer. Uh, used to race SRN quite a bit. Left us for a couple seasons, but is now back. Excited to have him back. Really good racer, really good part of our group. But he's playing those games with those teammates right now. He knows exactly what he's doing. The one truck up there that I see has some damage on it that's decent is the 3 of Radke. The rear of that truck has quite a bit of bending in it, so probably all right to push, but kind of uneasy if you're pushing him. So we'll kind of see how that develops because he's starting third row inside.
Well, here we go. We've seen a lot of lift from these trucks so far tonight, and almost over was the 6 there. You know, do we keep these trucks on their all fours before this one is over? I don't know. We're gonna.
I sure hope so. I sure hope so.
Boys, these boys, they're getting after it, and that's what we like to see as spectators.
10 laps to go at Daytona.
Oh yeah.
It's
who wanted more?
We're gonna see it now. Yeah, exactly. We're not done with the action yet. There's some more about to be had right here.
And so, the iRacing.com safety vehicle makes that hard left-hand turn into the safety of pit lane. The field in the hands of James Shane Wolf. Green flag back in the air. 25 miles to settle it. Three wide in the heart of the pack, and looking there, Jason Green trying to get to the inside of Wally Babb. Babb trying to figure out if he's going to be up high or down low. Flanagan trying to shove through the middle as well. Kyle Spees truck around James Shane Wolf! And more trucks around Kyle Spees! This could be huge!
Oh, David Flanagan just took a major...
Oh, Shane Wolf barrel rolls down to banking.
Jeffrey Radke, big damage. Drake Carty rolling in late. Oh,
that one was big.
Yeah. Now we said 10 to go. Gloves come off. I think a little too early there for the gloves to come off. But and you kind of said it when 3 wide right there, and they're all over the place. Not sure what lane you want to be in for the worst possible situation. That's kind of what that looked like right there.
Man, kind of just all saw it happening that entire lap, and it all comes to a point with 9 laps to go. You saw Shane Wolf get sideways in front of the pack, and it was on from there. There he goes, sideways, and well, the rest of the pack suffers because of it.
That the camera's like, I gotta run for cover. Trucks are coming. I gotta go.
I saw a lot of it live.
Shane Wolf got jacked up from somebody who was behind him, and then everybody just starts getting clipped, and at that point, there's really nothing you can do, unfortunately. Try to see if we can see if anybody's towed from that one.
I would imagine a few have that from that one.
Yeah, Shane Wolf
for sure.
like he has. He said just came over the radio having steering issues, and so that'll probably be all she wrote for that truck. Doesn't look bad, but steering issues. That usually doesn't bode well for continuing the event. Everybody's just trying to get sorted out right now. New rule this year as well: if you get a meatball flag, which is basically a flag that iRacing throws if it determines your vehicle is in need of required repairs, you get an automatic end of line. And what that does is it allows the rest of the field to catch up and pit in a nice, fashion without having to wait for damaged trucks to come on by. So a rule that should clean things up on the procedures a little bit as far as that goes this season. So that's why you see some of those trucks back there just kind of dragging their feet.
Well, JB, this has turned upside down the front of the field. All the names that we had up here 4 laps ago, JB, they're almost all gone. Sean Long's the leader. Dan Park is up here, and well, behind them, it's new. Lane Doyle, Mark Pearson, Scott Kalal, Zachary Tallman, Corey Stahl, Jason Kratke, Justin Smith, Spencer Brown, the rest of the top 10.
So Justin Smith goes from upside down to ninth.
To ninth. with time to spare.
I guess he flipped that thing just right. Yeah, that truck doesn't look bad. I mean, you see a little bit of damage there on the door.
On the side that he rode on.
Down the track, or Andrew Harris getting into his door, but the rest of that truck looks all right.
And look at the 54 in front of it.
We've seen him in a couple incidences, and that truck is mostly straight. I'm thoroughly impressed with the fact that 6 truck is even rolling in a straight line, considering he was upside down about, 10 minutes ago?
That's that is the pro of the damage model, is stuff like that.
Sometimes you get lucky, you know? What you really want to avoid is suspension damage, steering damage. It's really hard to repair on pit road, and then obviously engine damage. That's usually at least a 30-minute in the pit requirement.
Yeah, Radke, Babb,
conclusion of this event.
Corcoran, Greathouse,
a lot of those guys.
Spees,
some of those
Johnson,
guys that we saw right up there.
Cardi,
Some don't look too bad, but you don't
Merriman,
know about the engine damage.
Godinez, Luttrell, Flanagan, Vic.
I don't know how that Flanagan truck is still actually able to drive.
Oh my God! Look at the front end.
No shot in the outside wall. I guess the engine survived that hit, but that was a tough one there.
So many of these trucks are.
Hey, like we said earlier, every point matters. When we get down to the end of things here, week 16, we're starting the playoffs. We're going to be looking back at this race and going, hey, David Flanagan coming out here and completing 6 more laps and him getting 5 or 6 more points, that's why he's in the playoffs. It can happen just like that. We're a win in your end system, much like we've used in years past, but we always have at least 7 or 8 guys that make it in on just points. And so, it's never too early to start thinking about points.
Absolutely not. All season long, all regular season, that is the fight that you're fighting. Is if you don't, win yourself in, it's going to be by points. So it's going to be quite the fight here. A lot of these drivers are going to be able to make it in on points.
Yep. A couple other notes if you keep the track. We talked about Joshua Siegfried, connection issues, went 2 laps down, back on the lead lap in 18th place. So that's why you never give up. He's 100%. Right back in it. The 78 truck has retired from this event. Evan Carlbon, he's done for the night. I think James ShaneWolf is done for the night as well. Everybody else is still on track to some form or fashion, but a lot of
this thing
are probably not great looking, like that one right there.
Oh, Radke, man. The 3 truck's seen better days.
Midnight is going to have to build him a new one before we get to Talladega on their super speed.
Well, JB, 5 laps to go. We've had 6 full course cautions. I don't know if we're done yet, but luckily we're not going to have long to find out. The iRacing.com safety vehicle is going to find its safety down the pit lane, and boy, that's about the only place it's been safe. Green flag back in the air as Sean Long brings us back to racing action. 5 laps to go. Lane Doyle takes to the outside, pushed by Daniel Park.
Park going with him. Now Park getting to his right rear. Park's got no help, though. Lane Doyle's clear to the lead. First time we've seen him up front tonight. Good momentum on that bottom line, though.
77's going to go round. And another big one.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Kratke involved. The 86, a side door involved.
Jason Green, Drake Carty, Dylan Godinez. And these guys in the back just doing the wise thing, coming to a stop. Yeah, the 77 got turned, and everybody, like we said, the last 10 laps, everybody's pushing no matter what. So it engulfs a large amount of trucks. The 77 has received a must repair signal, so that truck's done. The 57 of Zachary Hines, same thing. Benjamin Park as well. Andrew Harris, all those guys, mandatory repairs needed. That's a hard.
Oh, 77 ate the wall.
The 86 there gets turned, and it's on from there.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't see anybody have a highlight reel sneak through on that one like earlier.
Yeah, and if you were on the top side, it came to you on the top side.
Exactly. Luckily, the front 7 or 8, were ahead of all that and made it through unscathed. Lane Doyle did have the lead at the time of caution, so he's still going to be our leader. But yeah, that's just pushing. That's just going for it. I mean, when they're front to back like that, it's never really net code that's the issue. Can be, but normally not where we see it. That's just a guy pushing and maybe somebody else not quite lined up correctly, maybe not expecting the push, maybe closing rates too high. So race control saying they looked at that incident. So another thing new this year we haven't touched on yet tonight is the incident review penalty system is different. So it used to be post-race, all the incidents would be reviewed. At-fault incidents would receive penalties like starting at the end of the line next race. Well, we got rid of that system because frankly, it didn't work at all. And it's back to in-race system. So Emerson, I know you're kind of familiar with that. It's what SRN used to use in seasons 3 and seasons 4. Almost an exact copy of it. So that's why we have 2 race control people at every race. They're looking over all these incidents. From what I've heard, there really hasn't been a lot of them that have been deemed not a racing incident, but they're talking about that last one. It was a bad push. Somebody just pushed right on somebody's right rear. I guess pushed on the 77's right rear, and that's all she wrote on that. So got to hear that from admins here just a second ago.
Well, the admins have sure been busy at it tonight, determining which are which aren't. There's been a lot of aggression for sure. So I wonder if that does play into a factor as well. But now's the time, right? We are into overtime. This is it. We will tick over, no matter what, next lap into overtime laps. And so, JB, this will be the first of 3. The last couple cautions, we haven't made it further than a lap and a quarter.
Yeah, everybody should be good on fuel too. I was just looking at the pit laps to see kind of what we were looking at there. The 84 and the 7 last came down on lap 36, but we've had a lot of caution laps, so they're going to be fine. Everybody else has been down, 46 or more recent, so everybody's going to be good on fuel. I'm not going to have that be an issue. I mean, there's still really about, I'd say, 20 trucks on track that are in decent enough shape to make some hay here, haul the mail, and get up there. But it's going to be tough, I think, if you're outside the top 10 in a green-white checker situation, to develop enough momentum and get things situated enough to get a big enough run to really take it to the front. I think when we take the green here for our first green-white checker attempt, I think you got to be in the top 10 to have a shot. And I really look at that second row, because time after time we see that second row be the deciding factor. You got Dan Park, you got Scott Kalal, 2 guys that have been around Speed Racing Network for quite a few years. Have
2 guys who have never
really
won
races. Recent 2 never winning drivers in Speed Racing Network, which are fighting to get that. But then the front row too, Sean Long, Lane Doyle, 2 other guys that we've seen around for 2+ seasons here at Speed Racing Network. I don't think they're going to be too aggressive, that they're going to throw some bad blocks, but I think it's going to come down more to who gives them the better.
Well, I hope you've done your homework. I hope you figured it out to this point, because Gentlemen, we are going overtime racing. This is a 2-lap attempt, 5 miles to settle it. And if they can make it back to the white, next flag, whether that be caution or checkered, will end it.
Just imagine if we had DraftKings lineups you could use. At this point, you'd be counting your drivers and trying to see if you can make a little bit of money. Hey, maybe we should reach out to them, get something set up. Get a sponsorship deal, maybe some parlays here on some drivers. But
oh man, I wouldn't bet on this race.
It's about to do that.
If it hasn't been wild already, Daytona and the virtual fans, you should rise to your feet because it's about to get crazy. As the iRacing.com safety vehicle heads into the safety of pit lane, the field in the hands of Lane Doyle. It is overtime racing from the World Center of Racing. Daniel Park, big shove.
Better push. Yeah,
oh, exactly. He tried to go outside. He couldn't.
Ooh, Sean Long. I mean, if he was any closer, the 7 was headed towards the outside wall. Luckily for Dan, not the case.
Big shoves here.
Momentum on the outside lane. He has better down the back stretch. We'll see how it shakes out getting to turn 3. They're pushing hard all the way back.
Oh, everyone's out of shape heading into turn 3.
Oh. Dan Park got a shove getting into turn 3, but keeps it straight. Upside down.
Oh, here we go.
Justin Smith going back. We did not make it to the white. Oh,
nose in the ground of Scott Kalaw.
Wow.
And we'll try that one again.
Oh my gosh, the front end of the 99 is all. That truck is crunched.
Oh my goodness, there's no hood on that thing.
Earlier,
oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
How can he see?
The first time I've seen that.
He's slamming off the yellow line. He can't see.
Oh my, yeah.
He's trying to get to the apron, I think.
Help him get around. I don't think I've ever seen that.
I don't think he knows where he is.
Now, but.
Oh my goodness.
Hood's doing a dance. This is entertaining. If it wasn't entertaining enough. We're going to have to remind Wally Bab about this very moment later in the... There you go. There it is. Oh, my goodness. Hopefully he has a teammate somewhere near him that say, hey, there's Great House. He's probably assisting. Hopefully. But, my goodness. That's a first for me. I've seen a lot of things on iRacing. Never that.
Oh, you can kind of see the yellow line.
Yeah, you can follow that around. He's straddling it right now. He's still going 80 miles an hour. Yeah. Well, that wreck started with the 7.
Just a bad push behind him, yeah.
84, yeah. I mean, when you get a truck in the middle of the rows there, it gets difficult. And it settled down. Right when he needs to get to pit road. Perfect. Yeah, that was just a rough situation. We got a lot of trucks now on pit road trying to get last minute repairs done. But that again shook up the front of the field. We'll take a look at the replay here while they reset.
Yeah, Sean Long, I mean, he was, as he should have, shoving hard to try to help Daniel Park there, but maybe to no avail. Not to no avail, but it's a big incident there.
That's a product of it right there. And then chaos again. You don't need to know what happens after that to know what happened. Now getting word Kyle Spees officially retired from this event. Robert Vick, Mark Person, Benjamin Park, James Shanewoolf, all done for the night. So that'll leave us 27 trucks still running. Not all of those on the lead lap at this point. iRacing still sorting out the running order, so we'll reset it for you as soon as it shuffles itself back out. Admins are also working diligently to get people in the right place there as things kind of scattered when that truck was sideways in the little corner. But, man, Justin Smith's had one interesting evening. Upside down, pushing the leader to the lead, running second, and then, well, almost back upside down. So, he's made the full circle this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, wow. And Scott Kalal was looking down at the ground for a while, and just big hits, big impacts, big rides, if you will.
We have a moment. So I'll give my old president of Speed Racing Network spiel here. Just want to give a shout out and thank all the drivers joining us. We have 38 full time in the trucks. We had 36 here tonight. Just a huge thanks to them to showing out and making another season possible. Thanks to you, Emerson, being our head broadcast guy and all the work you put in. Thanks to Jim, our new series director this season for the trucks. He's done an incredible job so far. Jack assisting him tonight. The rest of my SRN leadership team and ownership staff, thanks for putting up with me as much as you do, and ultimately lending a hand and helping us make decisions and building what we expect to be a great season 7. Unfortunately, it's only the trucks this time around. We couldn't get the Xfinity series to the level we wanted it to be, but we got other cool things planned. For Wednesday nights and some Monday nights later down the road for Speed Racing Network. But I think we're going to have a really, really kicking Tuesday night truck series and all the way up until April.
Absolutely. This looks like we're going to have a lot of fun over the course of 24 racing weeks. And if tonight's been anything...
schedule, too.
Oh, yeah.
We've got some interesting races coming up. I mean, yes, we always open at Daytona, but, we're at Rockingham next week, which was recently announced that the NASCAR Truck Series is going back there, and then Kansas, Talladega, Watkins Glen, Iowa. What a stretch to open the season. I'm
Absolutely, but here we are, the season opener, looking to come to a close. We are now in our second attempt of overtime. Lane Doyle, Sean Long, Jeffrey Vickery, Daniel Park somehow is still up here, Corey Stahl, Jason Green, Connor Cunningham, Spencer Brown, Sean Corcoran, Chris Luttrell, many more still alive.
I think it's going to be a who gives the best push here again.
We'll try it again as the iRacing.com safety vehicle heads into the safety of pit lane. Overtime number 2 from Daytona.
Calmer this time around. Daniel Park's still the best push off the restart. Good momentum there in the top lane.
No rear end, but he doesn't need that where he's going.
If Jason Green doesn't mind, they're going to the front. Teammates there, so they're going to try to find a way to get around the leader.
There they go.
Dan Park gets his right rear. Good push by his teammate. The Park Brothers Racing teammates to the front.
And Jason Green has won here in SRN before. Is he going to push his teammate Daniel Park, who has yet to win an SRN, to it?
Park Brothers Racing 1, 2, 3 right now. Connor
wow.
Popped out of nowhere in the picture. We've seen his truck be involved in a few incidents. If we hit the white flag here, though, this race will be official. The next flag will end the event.
Through the tri-oval, 1 lap to go from Daytona. This race is official. Jason Green shoving his teammate Daniel Park here at Daytona.
Park Brothers Racing still secured the 1, 2, 3. Chris Luttrell, he's the leading car in the outside lane, but they don't have enough help. A little disorganized here. That's going to give the top lane a little bit momentum. We'll see if the bottom lane can...
No! Daniel Park spun off the nose of Jason Green! Chris Luttrell, the first timer to the lead!
He's getting a shove by the 15. That's Joshua Siegfried, who was 2 laps down.
3 wide, maybe 4 behind. The pushing, the shoving, Cunningham and Green on the inside, Siegfried and Luttrell on the outside. To the stripe, here they come, and Chris Luttrell will win sideways.
Oh my goodness! Oh, Jason! Oh no! Oh, what a! Well, they don't need those trucks anymore.
The winner is on its side. There he goes!
There you go.
Oh no!
Oh no!
And he'll get flipped back over.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my goodness!
For admins
oh no!
Finish the finishing order.
I think his engine is blown.
I've heard it's official. Chris Luttrell, first SRN race, SRN winner.
1 for 1.
Second, Lane Doyle. Third, another 1/1000th of a second finish. Here,
Well,
Speed Racing Network, or 1/100th of a second. Sorry, just getting the update from Jim on the times here. I'm listening over.
no
Wow.
no celebration from Chris Luttrell is not possible.
Oh, he's celebrating.
He's celebrating. That's true.
Dan Park, we saw him go inside. 26th.
Unfortunate.
Heartbreak. But to have 26 trucks still on the lead lap to finish this event, awesome. Love to see that.
I'll try to get that finish one more time. And that was absolute chaos as they came to the stripe. Here we go. Chris Luttrell gets it done in his first career Speed Racing Network start. And here's how it happened. He got turned sideways across the stripe, but he did get it done. Chris Luttrell is a Speed Racing Network race winner.
And an independent driver, Chris Luttrell.
Yeah.
Team owners might be knocking on his door because he's now a playoff driver.
That it is.
I add, as long as he completes 12 of the regular season races. But I think he's got a new friend there in Joshua Siegfried that just said, you know what, I'm going to get right here and push you. What's interesting, also, just looking at it, Joshua Siegfried's also an independent driver. So they were in a race chat together.
They could link up?
Probably working. Yep, working together to get that done. So impressive by the two independents.
Well, that is something else on how this one comes to a close. Chris Luttrell, Jason Green, and Lane Doyle are podium finishers, and we now go diving into the Discord to try to find our first timer in Speed Racing Network and our first time race winner. 1 for 1 in Speed Racing Network competition. It is Chris Luttrell getting it done at Daytona. And Chris, how about it?
About that, man, that was crazy. I put him on the last turn there, and my other independent buddy behind me. He was pushing me, and man, he gave me a good one. It was crazy. Landon flipped over my roof and everything.
Oh my goodness!
Wild from start to finish. Everybody was everywhere. It was a great show you guys put on. But I did notice that I looked down. Joshua Siegfried, a name we're a little bit more familiar with around here, just made his return to Speed Racing Network. The team he used to run for isn't around anymore, so I wasn't sure. But yeah, I looked down, I saw he's an independent, and I'm like, oh, those two, they were able to communicate and link up together. When you saw the 7 go to the inside and that stack up the bottom lane, you guys had the momentum. What were you thinking when you just saw that clear racetrack in front of you?
Oh man, I knew we had it then. We had a pretty good run going out there, and then somebody spun off the inside off of 2, and then what was his name? I don't even know his name. Joshua. He had me covered there, and yeah, this is my first time in this league, and I raced with a lot of guys from TLM and Lucky Dog, so they're always good to me.
Yeah, and there's some of our best drivers and best teams in here, so we're glad to have you. Great win. I'll let Emerson say a last word, but also just want to let you know you're now in the playoffs. So there's that to look forward to as well.
Let's go. Yeah, see y'all next week.
Yeah, Chris, I mean, this is all happened so fast. I know you know a bunch of these guys, but as Speed Race Network related, kind of getting into this series the way you did, and now, in your first start, already getting it done. It was, of course, a wild race today. But walk us through, leading up to the race, and then, the last couple overtime attempts in the race, how you get it done, and what's going through your mind in all these points.
Well, I got by most of those wrecks, but then I finally got into one, and it had a minute of damage. So I stopped and got new tires and got extra fuel for some green white checkers, and then came back out there and just had good luck getting through the traffic there, and a great start.
Well, there you go, Chris. Next week is Rockingham. Of course, you got yourself your victory already, so you don't have to worry about winning. But what do you make of the 1 mile short track in North Carolina. How do you think you'll do there?
I love Rockingham. I don't know. I ran a truck race the other night, and I was top 5. So I don't know. It's a lot of tire wear there. So it's how you protect those tires and when to get them and not. We'll give it a shot, though.
Absolutely. Well, first time in Speed Racing Network competition, and it is a victory for the 00 of Chris Luttrell. Chris, congratulations on winning in your Speed Racing Network debut, and congratulations on making the playoffs. Best luck to you the rest of the season.
Oh, man, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Good broadcast, and we'll talk to you next week, hopefully.
Yep, thanks.
Yep.
Absolutely, and that was our race winner, driver of the number 00, Chris Luttrell, again, in his first career SRN start, JB. That is outstanding stuff.
I had to make quite a few more than one start to win my first one. I had
Still looking for mine.
before we got there. Yeah, maybe one day we'll get you back in one of these races to win. But I mean, that's a product of these super speedways, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, next up we have our second place finisher, driver of the number 55, Jason Green. And Jason, what a chaotic finish there. I know you were trying so hard to get Daniel Park his first career SRN victory. And I know it just all came all apart there off of turn 2. But then you had the new goal of you got to get the race win. You got Connor Cunningham pushing you. What more could you have done differently?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It was... I felt bad for Dan. I think I hit him on the left side of that bumper that whatever he had left. And yeah, I just wanted to push him to win so bad. It felt so bad. But then yeah, when he gets turned, and then it's just trying to keep it as straight as possible. And Connor was doing such a great job of pushing. I know we had all of our teammates lined up there, and I don't know. I'm looking at the replay. I mean, maybe I could have hugged the bottom a little bit more, because I saw whoever was coming in the middle lane out of nowhere. I saw them in my rear view and said, okay, I need to make a decision here. And I just tried to stay as low as I could until I made contact. And after you do that, I just kind of have to hang on there. But it was a good race overall. Led some laps. That's good. Was up front for most of the race. Our strategy was just kind of the first half, just hanging back, was working there for a little while. I know a few of our teammates, Park Bros Racing, got some damage. I think it was on those first wrecks there. But yeah, battled back, P2. We'll take it. We'll move on to Rockingham next week.
I think there's a couple ways too you can think about this evening. Like, one is, hey, I got a second place, a good point stay out of a super speedway, so you don't have to use this as a drop week. So there's a little bit of confidence in there that if something happens a couple races down the road, you're all right. But what I was impressed with, obviously, Park Bros Racing, kind of a rebranded new team, but you guys always seem to work real well together. And tonight, yes, we saw you guys in some early damage, but it always seemed like you guys linked back up together. What can you really attribute to having that kind of team success, especially with a team that's gone through some major changes?
Yeah, no, we have great camaraderie. Everybody's really friendly. Everybody's super respectful. And we all race really hard, right? We're all talented. I feel like we're aggressive at the right times. And when it matters, right? If we need to be able to push a person to a win or whatnot, man, we're going to be there at the end. So yeah, definitely looking forward for this year. And see what we can bring.
Well, Jason, it is a second place finish here at Daytona. Coming up next is Rockingham. What do you think about your chances there?
Yeah, so I was joking with the guys. I think last year was my worst race, like from an average running position stat, and I'm gonna have to figure it out here in a week. But yeah, no, good to get this P2. We'll see what Rockingham brings next week. Wait, I don't get how those cars go that fast around that racetrack. So.
Well, nonetheless, Jason, a great start to the season for you points-wise. Congratulations on your second place finish tonight here at Daytona, and best luck to you next time out at Rockingham.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
And, of course, that was our second place finisher, driver of the number 55, Jason Green. And now we'll be joined by our third place finisher in the number 47 machine of Lane Doyle. And Lane, that was quite the wild finish there. All the overtime attempts and all the carnage there at the end. What more could you have done differently?
Hit the right gear on the final restart. I nailed every restart, in my opinion. up until the last one. We get to the restart zone. I punch the throttle and look down to see a big old 4 instead of a 2. I restart 4th gear, screwed over the guy that was going to push me, so I didn't have any help going down the backstretch. So I had to spend an entire lap recovering, but going down the backstretch, going into 3, I'm not too sure who was pushing me there. I can check the replay real quick. But, oh, man, that was a push from hell, because, oh, boy, did I catch up to those leaders fast.
We saw a few of those.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was such a shot that when I saw a gap open up in the middle, I was a fool if I didn't take that. So I kept it pinned, kept it going. Chris did what he should have. He closed the door. I apologize to Jason because I just straight up hooked him. I mean, it wasn't like a malicious, of course, but the door closed. If I let off the throttle, I'm pretty sure the result's the same. I get hooked into him. So you just kind of gotta go where the wind takes you. And luckily today, when I spun a few times, it didn't take me up into the air. So I'll take a 3rd place for Daytona. Surprised it didn't end up in the infield or the lake in the middle. I'll take 3rd.
And we were just talking to Jason, and this is a good perspective to have on it. Yeah, you're so close to the wind, didn't get it, but you're plenty quick. We're going to see you in contention at some point this season for sure. But at the end of the day, right, when you can come out of a super speedway race with a top 10 and have a good points day and know that that's not a drop week you have to bite early in the season, it's never too early to start thinking about points. What's your approach this season? We've seen you for quite a few seasons in and out of Speed Racing Network. Our point system has changed slightly to where we're bringing back a playoff lucky dog, and we're gonna have a field of 16. But when 16 races later, and we're trying to make cuts for the playoffs, what are you doing now at this point in the season to kind of set yourself up for that?
Well, most definitely, with the Super Speedway being a drop week, I know I either have had very good Daytona starts to the year, or I finished 31st. And then I'm immediately in points recovery mode, trying to figure out what races do I know I can successfully drive and not have a bad week with. So starting off with Daytona, a solid points finish. That just opens up a lot of wiggle room. I'm confident in the schedule. I feel like I can do well on most of the tracks, but of course, these trucks just got an upgrade to them a few weeks ago, so who knows what's going to happen. I know when we did a recruitment race at Dover, I looked like I had only done 5 laps ever in a truck, so it's going to be an interesting season for me, but starting off not having to worry about points, or at least dropping Daytona, it's a big breath of fresh air already.
Well, Lane, that was quite the ride there at the end. I know you had the checkered flag in sight trying to squeeze through the middle, but to no avail there. But next week is Rockingham. You were kind of just already talking about the schedule. What do you think about your chances next week at Varrock?
Well, the Rocking for ovals that are strange, I feel like I do very well there. So like your Twin Ring, Milwaukee Mile, Gateway, ovals that just aren't your cookie cutter ovals, that just have some sort of flair to them. For some reason, I'm always up front there. So going from Daytona, a plate track, which I feel fast at, to another track, which I usually feel fast at, it's giving me a lot of confidence in this season. Then of course we go to Kansas, which is not one of my better tracks, and then another plate track. So just to shake things up. So got to keep me on my toes here. But I'm excited for the next few weeks.
Absolutely. Well, Lane, congratulations on the great points day tonight. 3rd place finish here at Daytona. Best of luck to you next time out at Rockingham. Hope to be talking to you then.
I hope to be talking to you then as well.
Well, there it is. That is our 3rd place finisher, driver of the number 47 of Lane Doyle. And that is how we close out a wild wild night here at Daytona. 70 laps at JB. It took a little bit to get through there. You got a couple extra on there as well for some good measure. But man, what a fun night tonight. The damage model and the physics kind of gave us quite the show tonight. Wasn't expecting. I guess we kind of should have with the duel, right? But wasn't expecting so many trucks to get air tonight.
Well, and man, it was overall a really good race. I mean, at the end of the day, these super speedways, they're going to be messy, naturally, right? But to still have 26 trucks come across that finish line running out of the 36 that took the green flag, that's awesome to see. And I do accredit a lot of that to the damage model and the updates. It makes it a little bit more feasible. But, that's also the will of guys already thinking about points, like we said earlier, where they need to go down, they need to get that damage fixed and get back out there and see if they can get a couple more spots. And so that's what I kind of asked the question to Jason and Lane, simply because, hey, usually these are drop weeks for most drivers, right? This and road courses are typically the ones, if you're not great at them, you're usually not great at them at all. There's no middle ground. And so it was good responses from both those guys to hear they're already looking ahead at the schedule. They know what races are coming up, what they're confident in, and having the fact that, hey, this is a good point stay already in their back pocket is huge. But thoroughly impressed with the race this evening. You're naturally going to get quite a few cautions in these races, but it was aggressive. There was good pushing. And when you end up wrecking the whole field across the finish line because everybody's going for it, that's what you want.
It was something else tonight. Got to shout out a few more partners here at SRN. Of course, we talked about HairClub, Admin Box, and Premier Setups earlier in the broadcast. But a huge shout out to, of course, ThermoPro sticking with us. Right, ThermoPro produces the best wireless meat thermometers and digital hygrometers for household use. Before establishing their brand, ThermoPro supplied some of the largest brands you see in the market today, working behind the scenes as a manufacturer. But now it's providing consumers with top quality products at very competitive prices without sacrificing functionality or quality. So you can use the code ThermoProTeam for 15% off of your ThermoPro order. Huge shout out to Top Coat. With Top Coat products, you're saving time and money. That means no need to buy different products to clean and protect all the different surfaces of your vehicle. Top Coat can do it all, outside and inside, making you look like a pro in minutes. Top Pro is the oldest and most trusted car coating in the market. And Better Boat is a complete line of boat cleaning products, boat accessories from a boating brand that you can trust. Shop for high quality products for boaters by boaters. And of course, a huge shout out, of course, to the YouTube channel here, guys. If you're watching on YouTube or for that case, Facebook or Twitch, drop a follow, drop a like, subscribe, guys. We'd greatly appreciate it as we continue to grow the brand here at Speed Racing Network. Any support is welcome. And yeah, JB, man, great show tonight. Next week is Rockingham. A little bit different from Daytona. What can you expect to see then?
Rockingham's a really fun track. And kind of like Jason alluded to in his interview, tire wear is one of the biggest things to kind of keep in mind for that race. There'll be some wrecks too, naturally, short track racing. But it's going to be putting yourself in the right strategy as far as fuel mileage and tires with a combination of getting track position. Usually puts on a pretty good event. I'm excited to have it early in the season this year. But with the group of guys we have and how deep the field is and the number of trucks we'll have on a week in and week out basis, I think all the races are going to be really, really good. But Rockingham, especially since it was just announced that NASCAR is actually returning there with the Craftsman Truck and Xfinity Series. I think it's just fitting that we hit that one early. But looking ahead, there's a lot of great things on the schedule to look forward to. And we'll be doing the Super Speedway racing again here in just about 5 weeks.
Well, absolutely. And I guess that will do it for us here from the Virtual World Center of Racing. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in and joining us for tonight's broadcast, and we hope you enjoyed the action this evening. Join us next week as the HairClub trucks head to Rockingham for round number 2, and of course, from all at Speed Racing Network, Jonathan Byer and myself, Emerson Arden, thank you all so much for watching.